So we talked about the timeline for the union and what the timeline is for the union, the 5 days and the 15 days. What are the next steps for letter carriers themselves? What can letter carriers be doing over the next 20 calendar days? I mean, this is a pretty quick turnaround. What can letter carriers be doing over the next 20 calendar days and beyond to build support and build a public case for a better contract?
Yeah. So, as you and I discussed, one thing that we're going to be planning, and I know there's, a lot of different organizations
Well,
within the NELC and people are doing different things and there's no right answer or whatever. But one thing that we planned, through our through Care for Press campaign is a March on Washington. And the reason for the March on Washington is to get us together to make sure that both sides, the NELC and the Postal Service, who are, have their headquarters in Washington, D.C., that make sure both sides know what we expect out of a contract. And then the second thing is to build support amongst the public. Having a strong Postal Service that delivers everything and anything for free. You pay for postage, but the delivery is free to every home and business in America at least 6 days a week is a great service. And that universal service that everyone has come to expect from a professional letter carrier. You pay us well, you treat us well, you're going to get the best possible service out there. And right now, we can't even afford our uniforms right now. The dignity of the job. The Postal Service has all this damn money to spend on supervisors and people to harass us all day, but they do not have any money apparently to pay us a living wage, at least to start off with, and to make sure we're in proper uniform and things like that. So we think that our fight is everyone's fight, and having a strong labor movement is good for everyone. We have 300,000 members around the country, and we want everyone to help and participate in this. So we plan a March on Washington for March the 23rd. We just need some time to get it together, but we encourage all NALC branches and any other union, labor group. Our brothers and sisters in the American Postal Workers Union are working without a contract under the terms of the previous contract as well. Hopefully they'll join us. Hopefully the National Association of Letter Carriers itself, our union, will endorse and support this march. So what we plan to do is come to Washington. Ironically enough, between NELC headquarters and USPS headquarters, is that march is exactly 1.3 miles, which is 1.3 is the amount of the raises that were in the tentative agreement. That
right.
it's like a curse word. 1.3. We're only worth 1.3%. What is this? So that is just an ironic thing. But that's just we're planning that march. And the second thing we're going to do is we've already put out kind of like a survey, and it's something where you can go in. It's a digital survey, and it says, "Here's my name. Here's my branch number. Dear President Renfro of the NELC, dear Postmaster General DeJoy, here's the reasons why I voted no, and I want you to know what they are." And we're going to take all of those and we're going to put them into a letter format, and we're going to deliver them on that day. On March 23rd, we're going to deliver them. We're going to deliver them to NELC headquarters. We're going to deliver them to USPS headquarters. And like I said, make sure that you mentioned like a 15-day window. I think this thing is gonna go on for a while. I think it's unlikely it'll be resolved in the next couple of weeks or even in the next month or two. And as it goes on, we have to stay in the fight. We have to keep rallying. We have to make sure that we're getting the public on our side, other union members and other unions, and just get everyone together to, like I say, fight for a strong postal service and a good, solid middle class job for our nation's letter carriers. I think that's in everyone's best interest. So we're gonna bring that fight forward.
Most federal workers that are under the GS pay schedule have, territorial cost of living adjustments. And that's something that I've heard a few times in the chat over the course of our contract coverage, that the only places in the United States that have a territorial, I don't know exactly the word for it, but a differential in pay is Alaska and Hawaii, and everybody else working under the NALC contract across the country gets paid exactly the same. So you work, in the ruralist of rural Alabama, you get paid the same as somebody in New York City. Do you think that the new contract should include a territorial cost of living adjustment?
Um, Well, I will answer that with a no, but let me kind of explain. The reason why it has to be a no is because our bargaining strategies are set by our delegates to the convention. The convention delegates are the supreme body in our union and the National Association of Letter Carriers. And we meet every 2 years, and there's thousands of letter carriers that come, delegates from every branch all over the country. And this comes up constantly, right? And it
Hmm.
came up last time we had the convention in
That's
Boston
right.
in 2024, and we voted it down. I mean, it was a close vote actually,
Right.
but we voted it down. So the bargaining strategy is that we're going to negotiate a national wage. Now there's a territorial cola in Alaska and Hawaii, and that's per the law, but it's not per our contract. So our contract says every letter carrier is going to make the same amount. But all that means to me, and I did a stop in Boston, branch 34, Boston, Massachusetts, and that's a big deal for them. In some of the other
Hmm.
high cost of living areas like San Francisco, New York City, Washington D.C., the Florida Keys, this is a very big issue where it's poverty wages compared to
Right.
what may be decent wages someplace else. But
Right.
all that means is that if you're going to have a national contract and you're going to have the same wage for every single letter carrier, that wage better be high enough for
Right.
all of our brothers and sisters to live a decent life. I mean, we're negotiating a good contract. And if it's a bad contract for our brothers and sisters in Boston, then it's a bad contract for all of us. And that's the way I feel about it. And that's why these terms and this 1.3% and this, what they call diet colas, which is a cost of living allowance that's not applied across the board for everyone. These type of things, they got to go. They cannot be part of our contract anymore.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think that
if we get it, if we I was going to say if we get to the next convention and the
and people
delegates to
vote a
the
different
convention
way.
want us
Yeah.
to negotiate that, then by all means, the president of the union would take that forward.
No, I think that makes sense, and I mean, I think I had forgotten about that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember that came up, and if the convention voted against it, I mean, I think that you're, I mean, more or less, I mean, obviously, I don't think it would be illegal to pursue a different bargaining strategy, but I think that you would be morally obligated to follow the will of the convention there. So I think that's a good answer. Finally, and then we'll bring on a call. There's been some talks about privatization of the postal service. There's been some discussion of that, and I saw that there was a resolution introduced in the U.S. House, basically opposing any efforts to privatize the postal service. Do you have any reaction to the talks of privatization?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to support that resolution. It's just kind of a general resolution. Um, but I will say there's a caveat to that. We're not in favor of anything that would deteriorate the Postal Service, United States Postal
Mm-hmm.
Service, the Universal Service Mandate, that kind of thing. But we do have a management problem. And the current structure that was laid out in the Postal Reorganization Act of 1970, they had postal reform was amended in 2022. We may need to look at that structure. And maybe it's just an internal thing where we got to have some more serious discussions with the board of governors and the people that kind of oversee the postal service. But this management that is currently in place with the postal service, they're horrible. They're horrible for the employees. They're horrible for the customers. They don't really care about the service to the people. The service standards have gotten worse, and they're not even maintaining those service standards that are on paper. So there
Right.
is something to be said to the point of why are these people in charge? It's you gotta deliver for the American people, and we would definitely like to work with the current management of the postal service to make it more efficient. We can get rid of half of these supervisors tomorrow, and we still get the job done, and we get it done better, without them, and that's going to save them a lot of money, and that's going to save the ratepayers who pay postage a lot of money. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do, but if postal management is going to dig in the way they've been digging in, and say we're just going to keep doing the things the way we've been doing it, then there's got to be a change there. So, but we're going to support the anti-privatization movement that has been introduced into the Congress. Yes.